Hello and welcome to the President's Lounge once again. Tomorrow evening, Bath Rugby play Exeter Chiefs. Looking forward to a fantastic clash on the recreation ground and hopefully a Bath Rugby win. Carrying on the theme though of connected communities and people around Bath, we're delighted to be joined by somebody who's won 65 caps for Wales and works tirelessly for the Bath Rugby Foundation. A big warm welcome for Caryl Thomas. Welcome, Caryl. Or am I supposed to say hello, Carezzo?
Creso, yeah.
Creso.
Creso, yeah.
Well, you know, I did explain I am half Welsh, but I'm obviously not a Welsh speaker like yourself. But welcome to Farley. It's great to have you here.
Thanks.
So 65 caps, Caryl. This is one of Bath's best kept secrets. So tell me a bit how, you know, by the time this goes out, you would have played Canada. Tell us about how you got into rugby and a bit about your international career.
Yeah, okay. So I grew up in West Wales and I was quite a sporty kid, I suppose. Interested in hockey predominantly through school, but then one of our teaching assistants started up an open day, I suppose, for rugby girls, in Llandailo RFC.
What a great name.
Yeah.
Llandailo.
Llandailo.
Yeah.
And fortunate enough, I was super keen for it. A couple of my friends were keen for it. So we turned up and then 60 other girls had turned up at the same time.
Wow.
So obviously there was interest. And from that, they kind of grew it into a team then. So when I was about 15, 16, we kind of played club rugby then. Then I kind of came, that's how I've come to Bath really. So I came to university in Bath and that's when things kind of got a little bit more serious and a bit more kind of, I was committed more to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Stepped up kind of the fitness and all that kind of stuff around it and played for Bath Ladies and got capped. Actually, 15 years from today, weirdly.
Oh, impossible.
Yeah, literally, it's crazy. It was when I moved house. Yeah, I just recently moved house, so I found my everything to do with it from the
Well, that's
first cap.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know, 65 caps is such an achievement. I mean, that's 3 times as many caps as I got for England. But absolutely incredible, and you've kept it such a secret. And in terms of the pathway that you had through the years, I mean, obviously that's improving, and we'll come on to that in a second. But what was the pathway that you had there, all that time ago?
Yeah, so club rugby is kind of your bread and butter. So playing those games like week in, week out.
Did you play for back then?
So I played for Llandailo to start off with, and then when I came here, I played for Bath Ladies. So through Llandailo RFC, played for West Wales, and I then got picked up for under-19s. Played for under-19s and then got into the Wales development squad, which then in 2006 transitioned into the senior team.
Fantastic. Obviously, there's been a lot of coverage recently of the women's game, and there's more coverage, I should say. I use my words carefully, and I obviously being an Englishman, I've been watching the England team beat the New Zealand, but you're unbeaten this season as well, which is Wales are unbeaten this season as well, which is fantastic. Yeah. But can you give some sort of insight to where the women's game is at the moment? If you're somebody out there, who's going to watch this, trying to understand where the women's game is and the struggles that it's probably had, and it continues to have. Can you give some sort of oversight to that? Yeah,
sure. So apparently it's one of the fastest growing sports out there in the world. We've got on an international scene, we've got kind of a mixed bag, I suppose. We've got England, who are fully professional, with their whole squad kind of professional training week in, week out. I think they're on a 6-week camp at the moment.
Yeah. So the England squad, for example, is completely a professional squad at the moment.
Yeah, and have been.
And do we know how big
while.
that squad is, or?
I think it's between 28 and 36 players. Yeah. Don't know if exactly, but they have got full-time players who are now their job and their livelihood is playing rugby, which is just awesome. And you can see it from their results against New Zealand the last couple of weeks. And then you've got teams like us who currently are all amateur. playing in the Premier 15, so playing in England. Quite a lot of the Welsh girls are playing club rugby there. And yeah, striving to kind of get to that kind of competing with that kind of professional level, really. We've had some good news recently. So from the Welsh camp, we've got some contracts coming in January. So we've got 10 full-time contracts coming in, which, you know, is huge progress for us.
So that will they be? They'll be like full-time contracted people that will be will be training all the time. Training 5 days a week to play on a Saturday in a fully professional environment.
Yeah. So I suppose we're kind of working out that at the moment. So we haven't been offered those contracts. It's just been kind of put out that those things are coming. Probably there's quite a lot of conversations going on at the moment. Yeah. So the intention is that those people can kind of become full-time players over the next year. So they're kind of year contracts up until the end of the World Cup.
And so will Caryl Thomas be one of those full-time contracted players?
Well, I never thought in my lifetime that it would happen. Things are moving too slowly, so it's exciting that it's here. I think the challenge is between it is that it's a great opportunity for contracts, but some of the experienced players like myself have been kind of in dual careers, so kind of managing the balance of playing and career. So there's big questions to kind of answer around,
It's a slightly unfair question because I know we'll come on to Bath Rugby Foundation in a second. Then, so we've jointly had some experience, working with some of the children there, and it's been a fantastic experience. But what are some of the struggles that are going on in not just Welsh women's rugby, but generally in women's rugby? What are the struggles that are going on at the moment, or continue to go on within the game?
Yeah, so I think one thing I wanted to say, during this, was on the weekend, I think England women playing Canada, they had 1 million people watching their game.
That's incredible.
It just awesome. Just shows that if you put it on, primetime TV, BBC Two, consistently, people will want to watch it. Similarly with the football, I think on the weekend, with the women's football. And so if we have consistency in being able to kind of grow our audience and people getting involved in the game, I think that just shows, the weekend just shows how people buy into it.
I totally agree, and being you're a proud Welsh person, I'm a proud English person, and I watched the England versus the New Zealand game, women's game, and what a fantastic game to watch. It really was. It was so entertaining. There was some great rugby played, and at the end of it, I went, "Wow, that's the best game I've seen today." And it was a whole rugby weekend. So I think it's absolutely great that we're the sport is. We recognise that. Recognising that there's still struggles and it's still trying to build, but there are. Some big steps being made, isn't there? Yeah,
so I think that's it. So that's the flip to it, is actually the struggles is around the consistency, is around being able to put those platforms, being able to play in top-notch stadiums, being able to have the facilities, being able to, manage players, because, we're balancing kind of between careers and trying to train and kind of look after ourselves and stuff. So, my week looks like going into camp now, so working this week. We had training in Cardiff on Wednesday, and then we'll be back in camp tomorrow all the way through until Monday. Yeah. So you work kind of 9 to 5, and then I head to Cardiff on a Wednesday, and my whole weekend's taken up playing internationally.
Yeah, I it was another lifetime ago when I was, when I was playing rugby, but we had to balance. I had a part-time, effectively a part-time job. We trained 3-4 times a week, as Bath rugby team, and we were off to internationals international training most weekends. So it was a real juggling act. So it's probably, would that be something similar to the demands of your life? You've got Bath Rugby Foundation, you got your family life, you got all these things going on, and is it difficult to balance?
Yes.
You might be just really organised and you say no.
I'm sure my family and friends don't say that. No, is it a balance? Heck yeah. I think now that I'm kind of a little bit older, I'm wiser in kind of making sure that I look after myself, saying no to things.
Yeah.
You know, you do miss, unfortunately, like people, you know, some of your friends' weddings and stuff like that because of various commitments and stuff. But trying to balance that out, you know, I've got Bath Rugby Foundation are a great organisation to work for, and they try and look after me during like those kind of key camp, kind of like now during the autumns and stuff like that. You know, I have good conversations with them. But yeah, it's
tough,
actually it's tough, and actually it's getting to the point that, you know, we're competing against professionals and trying to perform at that level as well, and it is getting to a point that actually it's not sustainable for players to carry on.
Well, I actually think it's amazing what what you're doing, because I totally relate to it, and the balance is very, very difficult. You know, if you're a full-time professional, and rugby's, that's what you do. We're actually, whereas the men's team, at Bath Rugby, we're actually, I think they encourage them to do some stuff outside of rugby to keep that. Yours is just happening by default. So, so it's pretty amazing what you're doing. Just so. We'll come on to some Bath Rugby Foundation in a second, but it'd be interesting to get your sort of aspirations of, 65 caps is amazing. You've obviously seen huge amount of change within that time, and you're talking positively about it, but there's still some stuff that that needs to be worked on. The awareness of the women's game. What's your aspirations for? Not just personally, but also for the game over the sort of next 10 years. Where could you see it going in the next 10 years?
There's been huge growth in kind of the professionalism and people being able to watch and support the women's game over the years. Do I think it's moving quick enough? No. Do I think that there's still a lot of inequality? Absolutely. These contracts is a good example. Like, it's great to have professional contracts, but actually from a point of equality, kind of, there's a lot of progress that we can make on that. I'm really excited actually for some of the young girls that I coach now, because aspirationally they can actually look at it being a career prospect, whereas that was never an option for myself. And I actually think that there's huge value in the women's game that's different to the men's game. Like, there's so many strengths, like the juggling that I'm doing myself, like kind of at the moment, that there's actually there's different strengths. Like, I'm not saying it's better strengths, but it's different strengths to rugby in the men's game, and I really want to see us kind of utilise that kind of that power, I suppose, and kind of health and fitness and
well, that's a really interesting
different
point, which I could totally relate to. So the 2003 men's World Cup, England won the World Cup in 2003. A lot of those players, on the tail end of my career, I was playing with the Neil Baxter, Lawrence Delalios, and they spanned the professional era, but they also spanned a lot of their career was the amateur era. And because I think they had those strengths, which you have in bucket loads. I think that stood them really well going into the professional era, because they could cope with things, and there is a voice that we need to probably involve players. My point earlier, professional players more outside the game now than we do in as much as we do inside the game, and keep them aware of things that are going on. And so I think that's a really, really interesting point, and something that that hopefully the women's game will take forward
Yeah, definitely. I think through our work with Bath Rugby Foundation, like, it's all about the life skills that you have. It's about the people, and I think that's the huge, that's what team sport's about, isn't it? Like, you can't succeed by yourself. You have to kind of have your whole team working towards that goal. And I think those life skills that you kind of build up, like, there's so much value to it. And if we can kind of instill the positivity of that into young girls for the future, blooming heck,
amazing.
How exciting is
Watch
that?
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's brilliant. So good to hear. I just want to move on to we could talk about that all day, but I want to move on to Bath Rugby Foundation, because I've had first-hand experience of you and what you do, but maybe not everyone out there knows about Bath Rugby Foundation. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the foundation does, and your work within the foundation.
Yeah, so Bath Rugby Foundation's the charity arm of the rugby club, and we work with young people using the power of sport to engage and build confidence and develop life skills to get to a point that we're at positive progressions, be it back into education, employment, or kind of positive kind of lifestyle, so being physically active. And I've been involved with the foundation for a long time now, and really passionate about it. So we work across Bains, Bath and North East Somerset and Wiltshire, and we really do see a difference in young people that we kind of engage with. We do it through schools, youth clubs, community sports clubs, across a whole age range. And I think for me personally, like the power of sport is that it's inclusive, so everybody can get involved in it. And what we've seen over the years is kind of young people grow in confidence and get to the point that aspirationally they're reaching things or gaining experiences that just will help them so much with their future to kind of get into that job or that employment.
And the type of people, I use the phrase that people they had pretty tough start in life. Can you give me some sort of examples of the type of people and the things that they go through and how they and what they're like when they come to Bath Rugby Foundation?
Yeah, so everybody kind of experiences kind of different experiences going through school or kind of different scenarios, I suppose, through life. What some of the young people that kind of we work with potentially are disengaged with school. Finding it really hard, whether it be academically or kind of through bullying or confidence, anxiety, mental health. We work a lot with young people with a variety of needs, disabilities, and we work with young people who kind of may be experiencing low kind of levels of confidence. And so what we do is kind of give it a level playing field. So it's about coming and just being part of it to start off with, and then building that confidence to kind of just push past those barriers and us as the foundation kind of being that support network to kind of to give that support and teach those life skills to kind of get to that positive bit.
Yeah, amazing. And in Bath, people, most outsiders look at Bath and go, "God, that's that posh city down in the West Country."
Yeah.
But there are some real, problems, within the city. It's almost like it's two cities within one city, isn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely. The disparity is massive, and like 1 in 5 children across Bains are living in poverty. And I suppose the thing about Bath is that there is a huge disparity kind of in kind of the wealth of the variety of kind of families and stuff, and so that causes a different kind of challenge across the city, but through the work that we do, it's about kind of long-term change, so breaking that kind of cycle, I suppose, and being able to support not only the children but kind of the families, and working with other organisations and other charities and the schools themselves to kind of provide those foundations. So we work a lot around food, a lot of kind of about kind of extracurricular activities, sports clubs, things like that, things that kind of potentially young people don't experience, and you can gain so much from.
Yeah. Well, Caryl, I think it's totally amazing the work you do with Bath Rugby Foundation. We had a great time when we took.
We were on an amazing trip. We went after the Andes in South America, and we took a group of kids who, some of them who didn't have passports, had never been on a plane before.
Mind you, some of the adults didn't have their passports.
And there was it's going to be like a trip to remember for a long time. That challenge of cycling 250 miles.
It was amazing. We had a great time, and I got first-hand experience of some of these these really, really talented young people who just needed a bit of a break in life, and hopefully we help do that. But amazing work what you do with the foundation. I tip my hat it's absolutely incredible. But also amazing that you're 65 caps. You're so modest about it, and you don't make a big thing about it. And if I'd have got 65 caps, I'd been like this.
I am like that.
Yeah. So wishing you the best of luck with the rest of your career, however long it lasts. Because a couple of years ago you said, well, I might be packing it in, but then COVID hit, and then the World Cup was delayed. So you're going to carry on to the next World Cup, yeah? Yeah,
that's it. So each campaign as it comes at the moment. So our the Women's World Cup in 2022 next October. So hoping to go to that. Hoping to make it to that, and that'll be my 4th World Cup. So one to finish on, hopefully.
Totally amazing. And being a half Welshman, as you only just found
this
out
today. This is the best kept secret.
Being a half Welshman, I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the year and the campaign moving forward. And thanks for coming along today. It's been really fantastic. Thanks
Thank you. Thanks.